Welcome to the Sweet Smiles podcast, where smiles are baked into every story. I'm Chelsea Bogg, Marketing Director with Icing Smiles, and in this podcast, we share the heartfelt stories of the families, volunteer bakers, donors, and community members who make our mission possible. Every dream cake has a story behind it, and today we're sharing one of those stories. Today, I'm joined by someone who plays a huge role in connecting our communities to the mission. Shellie Allton is a local outreach manager for Icing Smiles and works with more than 100 volunteers across nearly all 50 states to help grow awareness and support the organization. Shellie, I'm so excited to have you here today. Thanks for joining me.
And thanks, Chelsea, for having me.
For those who may not know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first became involved in Icing Smiles?
Sure. Backing up a few decades ago, I actually had my own bakery. I did primarily specialty custom and wedding cakes by referral and order only, but just loved those years. And in addition to that, I also have a marketing background. So combining the two, I was just able to thrive and succeed with that and just loved every minute of it. But fast forward, my husband and I retired about 7 years ago. And I knew that I wanted to give back because I really feel like especially the artistic portion of decorating and all was gifted to me. And I just loved the idea that I could turn around and pay it forward and give back with it in my retirement. So we found ourselves retired and actually living on our sailboat. I just wanted to change the scenery. I missed doing cakes. I was able to do some on the boat, but a very small amount compared to my capacity before. And so one day I was bored and I just searched on Instagram, pretty cakes. I just wanted to see pretty cakes again. And I don't remember, I did not specifically look up Icing Smiles, but that came to the front of my feed because of looking for pretty cakes. But I want you to know that I watched that feed for a year and a half before we got back to land. And it just spoke to me every time I checked in. It's like this organization is reputable. They've got it going on, their heart's in the right place. I could put my name behind them and the rest is history.
I love that. It really goes to show the power behind what we do and how the sharing, how putting the word out there, it matters, which is a lot of why we're here today. That's become your job, is putting the word out there. But before we jump right into that, let's talk a little bit about your connection to the organization. And I know you said, you watched us for that time, but what makes you feel that Icing Smiles is where you are meant to be?
Well, like I said, I knew I wanted to give back with the decorative piece, but what I didn't even know was, and Icing Smiles showed me, oh my goodness, there could be a medical component. And I've shared, and I'll share again, that my brother was actually born with a critical illness. He's still with us today, but still struggles with it. And so when there was that layer of impact, it was just like, okay, I found my home.
Yeah, it's incredible the number of volunteers that we have. And I know you know my story and that have that personal connection to make this a full picture. We have the cake background, but we also understand the medical side, and it just shows the power of what we do and why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of brings us into who you are and what you do for this wonderful organization. So you oversee an incredible network of volunteers across the country. Can you tell me a little bit about who our local outreach ambassadors are and what they do?
Yeah, I feel so blessed and constantly humbled by our team. And they're a great army. Right now we have 120 spanning the nation, and they're basically the cheerleaders for Icing Smiles. A lot of them have been previously involved in some capacity, maybe it's administrative or sugar angels, but they just want to get out and share the word. And what's also neat is you don't have to bake to be an ambassador. You just have to want to be a mission spreader.
Yeah, it's incredible that we at Icing Smiles have these opportunities for people who love the organization, love the mission, but baking might not be their talent, and that's okay. There are some of us who dabble in both sides. You and I are the
Yeah.
administrative side and also get the baking side. But there are so many of our volunteers who are like, no, I'd love to eat your cake, but it's not what I do. And that's okay. We
Mhm.
have so many roles across the organization that we need people who specialize in other things. And then we need those boots on the ground in our local communities, putting the word out there, which is truly what your local outreach team is doing.
Yeah, and with that, our primary goal It's general awareness, but we would love to become a household name. And when I say that, like you think of the restaurant McDonald's, even internationally, pretty much everyone knows McDonald's, right? And wouldn't it be something if everyone throughout all 50 states that we serve, when you say Icing Smiles, they just know who we are. That's what we're after. And we're making traction towards that. It's really
It's true.
exciting.
It's the goal, and truly, your local outreach team is what's going to get us there. So we're so excited about that. And thank you to those 120 people who are already on board and making this happen. I know that as we continue to put the word out there, both publicly about Icing Smiles, and then as people join us as local outreach ambassadors, all it's going to do is get us to that goal.
And I would like to pause and give a huge shout out. I've got an assistant. I could not do it without her. And then also dedicated events coordinator so that we can support ambassadors that might come along across large table events to get our name out there. Just walks them through the whole thing and makes it a really easy, fun process.
That's huge. Yes, a huge shout out and thank you to them. Which kind of brings us into, let's talk a little bit about what kind of things that your local outreach ambassadors are doing. What do they do in their community to raise awareness? Where do these ideas come from? Explain a little bit about that program.
Yeah, this is where it gets really fun and I get really excited. So, on a monthly basis, we put out what we call just our campaign initiative for that month. And we try to design them very intentionally with different levels of effort. And when I say that, what I mean is like 1 month, we might like National Social Media Day. All we may ask of you that month is to be sure to post a social media post about Icing Smiles on your platforms. That takes 5 minutes, quick and easy. Other ones might be a bigger, heavier lift, like preparing treats and getting them to a local elementary school or something. So that takes a little more time, planning, prep. But we want to design them with different levels like that so that when our ambassadors, we realize we are all volunteers. They have personal lives too, but that they have choices that they can pick and pull from as their personal life might allow. And on that same note, we always try to stress and let ambassadors know when they're considering coming on that if they would love to do a campaign every month and like it just speaks to them, it hits their email box, it's right there for them, and they just plan on doing it. That is wonderful. And we would never discourage that. But we just ask that if they think that being an ambassador is a fit for them, that they commit to doing at least 4 campaigns a year. So roughly one a quarter as it fits into their life.
It's really a great thing about the local outreach ambassador program is that you can volunteer with us, but it also can fit into your life. It doesn't have to be, you're not committing to a certain number of hours every single week. And we are so blessed to have volunteers that are willing and able to do that for us. But there's no reason somebody who doesn't have that availability in their schedule can't still volunteer for us and find what works for them. And this local outreach ambassador program is just that. Do you
Exactly.
have a favorite event or two that anybody has done that you want to share about?
One that really tugged at my heart that I was fortunate enough to get to attend, it was a tabled event, but it was actually for coming along and partnering with a group that support the same families that we do. All of the guests that were there, the kids have to have a rare disease diagnosis. And the theme was superheroes. And we had a really tall dummy cake. And actually, our local sugar angel came up with it. It was a brilliant idea. But on the wafer paper, she had edible pens for them to sign their name in like a big superhero burst. And then on the cake that had superheroes, the children got to choose which superhero was theirs or that they would want to be and tag their name on that superhero. As I stood there watching them do that, I had goosebumps, Chelsea, especially watching and thinking back to my brother having over 50 brain surgeries, seeing in those moments that those children were in their minds truly superheroes, that for that moment their pain was gone. It's just the good stuff that keeps me coming back to do this more and more.
It really is a special thing, and that's a really cool part about the local outreach ambassador program also is that you can be boots on the ground sharing to other bakers and spreading the word that way. You can share to the general public and just make them aware of us. And then you can attend these targeted events that shows we have sugar angels across the country and we are always recruiting more. And this is, I don't say this to deter anybody from coming on as a baker for us, but we have so many bakers who say, I want to bake. I want to bake. When's my next cake? Because the feeling behind making a dream cake, making a cake for Icing Smiles is incredible. But not every medical child knows about us. And while, yes, I wish the reason behind us not having as much demand as supply sometimes is because there weren't sick children, sadly, we all know it's not the case.
Right.
And I wish every day that it was. But since it's not, what can we do to get out in these communities, spread the word about Icing Smiles, and make it known that, like, we are here and we want to have you as a part of our community? And your team's what's going to make that happen.
Yeah.
Great. So one thing people may not realize is how widespread the Smiles community really is. What does it look like to have volunteers representing all across the United States? And like, how does that communication work with your team?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier we've got a team of 120 and super excited and proud to say that we actually have dedicated ambassadors living in 45 of the 50 states right now.
We're almost
So,
there.
yeah. So hopefully that kind of gives you a visual. I want to take a moment to just quickly plug the states that we are still needing, because if anyone's listening and they themselves live in these states, or maybe they know a baker or somebody that just loves sharing, wants to be the cheerleader for Icing Smiles, we are still looking for people in Delaware, Hawaii, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and North Dakota.
All
So,
right. That's your shout out. If,
yes, yes.
if you're in those states, come join us.
Now, that's not to say that we aren't open to having more than one ambassador in a state, because some states we've got up to 10. We are not limiting that at all. We would love to see a saturation point where we are that household name. So keep the applications coming. If this is something that, intrigues you at all and you want to learn more, please give us a shout out. And we'd love to spend time explaining in more depth to you what that would look like.
Yeah. And that's so true. And it really, when we talk about, okay, yes, we want to fill all 50 states, and it would be great to say, we have local outreach ambassadors in all of them. Even when you break down Texas, you can't have one local outreach ambassador in
Yeah.
Texas. So anybody listening, please do not hesitate if you were not one of those 5 states, because it doesn't make sense to only have one per state.
No.
Most people will cover their town, maybe a couple neighboring towns, but in order to be this household name, to be the boots on the ground, we need more than one. So come join us.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Love it. And that really goes to show, how have the local outreach ambassadors that you have started to get the word out in the community, and how's their community embracing it? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I can say, and this is probably your answer too, anybody who hears about us says, wow, that's incredible. That's amazing. Like, and they want to know about it. Have you ever got any feedback like that?
Yes. One thing that I always go back to, I have to say it's one of our favorite and kind of a gold standard of all of our campaigns. It's what we've named it is Random Acts of Smiles. And we actually spun off of the national holiday Random Acts of Kindness in May. But basically, as ambassadors, we prep and set out to, on that day, just go about our normal day. But prior to that, in prepping, what we do is we decide what would we want to hand out on that day to share with complete strangers what Icing Smiles is. And this is where the team has actually inspired me and given me new ideas that are just brilliant. So we always have, bakers that do beautiful cookies, that sort of thing. They bag them, they tag them. So there's a QR code so the recipient can go to learn more about us when they receive it. But, even like store-bought bite-sized candy bars have been well received. But the one that was my favorite is somebody actually hopped on Amazon and ordered the smiley face squishy stress balls.
Love that.
Those out. But she said, she circled back to me and said, I actually had a friend that I gave that to her 2 years ago, because we've done that campaign twice now. And she says, I've got it on my desk at work. And do you know that every time that stress ball smiles at me, I think of Icing Smiles again. And so look at that ripple effect, that it just can it keeps going on and on. And maybe a coworker says, "Hey, where did you get that?" Smiley face, and then she can share. And so it's campaigns like that that are just, they have layers of impact. And we just want to remember that, when we're out
Yeah.
there sharing.
It's so true. It's Random Acts of Smiles is one of those things. The heart of our mission, obviously, our name is Icing Smiles.
Mhm.
That's what we're out there to do. And our cakes create smiles, and our cookie care packages that we do create smiles. But it's amazing how one little thing, just literally smiling at somebody, can make somebody's day. And how can we embrace our mission and utilize that opportunity to then have this ricochet effect to make us that household name and allow people to learn about us. So
Mhm.
it's a really, great all around mission. And I love that, the local outreach ambassador team is able to embrace the heart of who we are, but also utilize that mission to raise awareness.
And I guess I just want to paint the picture too. When I say like go about their day, this doesn't even have to be like they go out of their way. I've had people hand them out in the grocery store, hand them out when they're pumping gas. And I think that, when you truly give it to a perfect stranger, it's that much more of an impact. And who knows, maybe that person's having a cruddy day and it just made their day. It's sharing love and light everywhere you go, no matter how you do it.
Yeah, and it's so cool because I can speak to my experience because I'll share with the listeners that I'm actually on the local outreach team also and
Yeah,
love to
you are.
participate in Shelley's campaigns. But I can say I have dropped it off at my kids' school, and that people in my immediate life who know me, but obviously my close network knows everything. I eat, sleep, and breathe Icing Smiles. But there's people who are in my life that might not know about Icing Smiles. And even just introducing those people, like those are the small steps. We're not asking anybody to break down barriers and walk into somewhere unfamiliar to them and shout from the rooftops. If you're up for it, we're not going to stop you. But it's amazing how, I dropped off a platter to my son's school and just had little tags of Icing Smiles on there. And so many people were like, wow, one, I didn't know you were involved, but two, like, that's incredible. Like, what a cool organization. And then I did, on my last family vacation, I put, the first Random Acts of Smiles we did,
Yep.
I put the tags on packs of gummies and I put them on my cruise ship on everybody's door to spread the word. Like, then you're hitting people from all over the world, which was really neat. So it's finding ways to be creative, get the word out there, and have fun with it. That's the cool part about the local outreach team.
And Chelsea, if I remember right, didn't you have your kiddos help you pass those out? Which, how can we be a better example to them too, right? And they're learning by doing. It's just, again, that ripple effect, generational learning of giving back and caring about others.
It's so true. It's amazing how Icing Smiles has introduced my children to that passion of helping others, of putting happiness into the world and giving people a reason to smile. Our family has our own history with medical illness and loss, and my children were alive when their brother passed away. But they've embraced his memory and his life, and they want to be a part of carrying it on also. So it's really cool that them getting partake. They're 4 and 6, obviously. They can't go out and give a speech to somebody, but they can put stickers on fruit snacks and hand them out on a cruise ship, and they get to feel the power of that in their own way, which is really cool.
Yep.
So it's a whole family affair here at the local outreach team.
Yes.
So what excites you the most about the future growth of our outreach network? What's the next step for the local outreach ambassadors?
After getting all 50 states to have
Yes,
their own ambassador, I'm going for multiples in every state. And from
sure.
that point, it's just super exciting because that will generate more events, more campaigns. I could see us growing to where we would need regional support at that point. So maybe those ambassadors that, have loved doing that could step up to like a regional role. And we just build in the tiers so that we can continue to support. And what's so neat is that I've got to hand it to our administrative, like my peers. We are getting so dialed in and have such a strong foundation that we could support that if it happened. And so I say, bring it on. Let's get out there and share and be those vision carriers.
Touching to what you said at the beginning of, you watched Icing Smiles for so long. It's an honor to be a part of an organization that really makes sure that we have the infrastructure there, make sure that we have the plan in place to get us ready to explode, because we want to be that household name, but we want to maintain our integrity. We want to maintain our service. We want to maintain our commitment to our community. And we build that foundation first, and then we're ready to hit the ground running. And that's where we're at now.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of hard work. And I'm just so grateful for all of the help. And it's exciting to see what's going to come.
It really, really is. And I'm honored to be a part of it. And your leadership is huge and the reason why this program's successful.
Couldn't have done it without y'all.
Big village. So if someone listening right now wants to become a local outreach ambassador, what should they do?
Yeah, they just go to our website, icingsmiles.org, and we've got an admin tab. There's an application to apply there, and then we'll reach out.
Wonderful. And I'll be sure to put that link in the description as well. But again, it's just checking out www.icingsmiles.org. And before we wrap up, I just want to ask one question. In one word, what does Icing Smiles mean to you?
Ooh, that's hard to put it in one word. Gosh, I think I would have to say love.
It's a beautiful word.
Yeah.
It really is. Well, Shellie, thank you so much for sharing your story and the incredible work that happens across the country that you make possible.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for listening to the Sweet Smiles podcast, where smiles are baked into every story. If today's story inspired you, we invite you to learn more about how you can support the mission of Icing Smiles, whether that's by volunteering, donating, or simply sharing our story. You can find out more information at www.icingsmiles.org. Until next time, keep spreading kindness and helping us bake more smiles.